2021 has been in many ways the turnaround year for real estate, especially residential real estate. And one of India's largest property markets, the financial capital Mumbai, has been leading the way. In fact, in this year, registrations of annual deals have crossed the 1 lakh mark. Before we go ahead, let's go across to my colleague Khushbu, who's joining us with details.
This year has been exceptionally well for the residential market and for the real estate overall. If we talk about Mumbai, the maximum city, here too a new record has been seen. The city has recorded more than 1 lakh housing sales registrations in this year till November only. If we talk about the first 3 weeks of December till now, that in this period also more than 5,500 registrations have been seen. If we talk about November, there too nearly 7,582 units were sold, which is a little lower than what it was sold in November 2020 when the stamp duties were at 2%. Even after that, when there's no relaxation of stamp duty, even after that the sales have picked up, and the city has made a record of 1 lakh housing sales up till November. And the months where we saw the maximum number of sales were January to April, when each month saw sales of more than 10,000 units. And if we talk about the segments where the highest demand is seen, in the month of November, 58% of the houses sold or the flats sold were in the below 1 crore category.
All right, to speak more on this, I'm joined now by Gulam Zia, Executive Director of Knight Frank. Gulam, great to have you back on the show. We've been talking through the duration of this year about how things are really turning, especially in Mumbai. What do you think are the key factors? I mean, most of these registrations seem to have taken place overlapping with the months where the state government offered cuts in registration fees and stamp duty. But have you seen the continuation of that interest even after those benefits were withdrawn?
Indeed, Tamanna, indeed. The numbers that we're looking at are, telling that same story. The stamp duty cuts were pulled out somewhere in the March of 2021. And post that, the numbers are really giving, a completely different story. That it was not completely dependent on the stamp duty cut at all. If you look at the numbers of post, even 2 or 3 months after the stamp duty cut was pulled out, because there was 2 or 3 months of overlap even after the stamp duty cuts were pulled out, at least in the month of April, May, June, you had some spillover happening there. But if you look at July, August, September, October, and all the way to November, the numbers are actually firming up. So whether it is 9,000-10,000 or last month in October, it was 8,500, November, almost the same number again. A small lesser quantity, just a few numbers below the October number. But overall, the numbers are looking great. So not just stamp duty cut, there have been other reasons as well. Like I would just talk, one of them is the lowest interest rate. That lowest interest rate is also, the home loan interest rate is also one of the key drivers for people to look at buying their house that they were waiting for so long. So multiple reasons, but one of the biggest which has happened just about coinciding with the stamp duty cut was the interest rate cut. So overall, it has been a steady market. Even after the stamp duty was pulled out, the traction is continuing, Tamanna.
Has this traction been seen in all segments? We know that higher end residencies, luxury properties have seen a revival of interest after a long time. But do you think it's a more secular trend across segments?
Indeed, I would say so. The best term that you've used is secular. And that's exactly how it is reflecting even the lower end of the market, which was, earlier we used to find it hard to believe that there are so many apartments below 1 crore mark available in Mumbai. And if you look at the numbers, at least in the November number I'm looking at, 58% of those sales are happening below 1 crore. And that has been steadily maintaining at least half of the transactions that are happening in Mumbai are registering below 1 crore ticket size, which means that the low end of the market is also doing well. Of course, the upper end of the market has been continuing to perform, which was not so about, say, even pre-COVID, the upper end of the market was not finding so many takers. But after COVID, at least the second wave, post-second wave, we do see a huge interest happening in the upper end of the market as well. So perfectly put, as you're saying, it's a secular trend all across the segments.
Now, the question is that a lot of these sales were pushed by, and that has been the narrative through the year, the pandemic and people having to work from home and school from home and feeling the need of their own space and a larger space. Has that need been fulfilled? Do you see this trend continuing into the new year? Or is that group of people who wanted to buy a new home and could afford to at this point, they've already found their destination?
Well, it will be very difficult to do a crystal ball gazing at the moment. What your point is that all those who wanted have already bought it is, well, time will tell. I would say let's wait for another quarter at least to conclusively say that, because while the world is talking about a third wave impending, maybe the trends will be different as we speak after a month or so. So I would say we need to wait and watch while the macro perspective hasn't changed much, at least in India. With times to come, if there is any surprise in store for us, we have to really wait for another couple of months to really come conclusively with that number.
What are the other factors that you are seeing contributing to this boom? Is the increased interest in residential real estate restricted to just Mumbai or the top 7-8 cities, or is it a broader trend? Are you seeing developers come in with new launches and more investment as well?
The new launches have been very, very even all over the country. In fact, even in tier 2 or tier 3 cities also, we have seen huge amount of traction happening. And once again, the reason offered for that is simple, that those who have actually walked back to their places where they belong, and many of these companies allowing work from home to exist or to coexist for some more time, then a lot of people have been buying in tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. So the spread of transaction is all across. It is not just the top 2-3 cities or 7-8 cities, but even beyond that, we are watching huge amount of traction, sales all across the country. And then ultimately your question to be answered exactly what are the other reasons? Well, a lot of reasons have really gone into bringing the industry where it is today. Whether you talk about the comfort that the regulators brought in, RERA has given a lot of comfort. And to a lot of these, questionable developers have already fallen by the side, and those who are existing now are very well reputed ones. And on the other side, even the prices have really corrected a lot in last 5 years. So lowest price, lowest interest rate for the home loan, reputed developers, and of course the need, as you spoke about, the need to own one's own house because of even the pandemic-induced desires to have one extra room, to have a kind of a working office within home. A lot of these reasons have come together. So it's not easy to pinpoint on one reason to say why has it been happening. Multiple reasons. The end result is in front of us. Residential real estate has bounced back.
Do you think that prices will continue to be on the lower side in the next year, or has this resurgence of demand already started pushing up prices?
Well, the price we are watching, we are looking at a few instances where a few developers, a few high-end developers have focused on their quality products, good houses, and started pushing the prices up a bit. Maybe single digits, 5, 6%, 7%. This is that experimentation stage where developers are trying to see or trying to find out what is the right price that will be accepted by the users, and that is where in a few instances it is happening. But if you look at the broad perspective, all over the country, all markets, all segments, that is not true. In fact, the prices have been going steady and shall continue that way for some time, because the developers need to really come with good offering, new products, where the buyers would see value in giving some more 5-7% price rise, and only then it will happen. And unless and until it happens for a couple of quarters or a year or so, we can't really jump to the conclusion that the prices have started increasing in general. So in between, in the interim, we can only say that good products by good developers are finding a few percentage of price rise acceptable by the buyers, not otherwise.
And developers have also been saying they've been doing that because of the massive increase in input costs that they're now reflecting, and that has been seen across the board, across sectors. But well, let's wait and see whether this trend continues into the new year. Thank you so much, Gulam, for joining us today.